Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This is Shelley from Koala Knits and Knacks, and I'm going to show you how to make this small produce market bag. It is for produce. It's for, tomatoes or apples or oranges or bananas or lettuce or onions or potatoes, whatever you choose to use it for. You're going to want to make 5 or 6 or 7 of them, throw them in with all your other shopping bags, and instead of using those little plastic bags that you can get at the in the produce department, you just use one of these for each of the different types that you purchase. Okay, they're very quick and fun to make. I used Bernat Handicrafter 100% cotton yarn and my Addi 46 needle machine. So thanks again for joining me, and I hope you have fun making this project. All right, my friends, let's get started. So we're going to need waste yarn for this project. So you're going to find a waste yarn that's a different color from your working yarn so that we can easily see the stitches later when we need to work the bottom, okay, and the top. And so we're going to keep our machine in circular mode. So up is flat panels and that little button on the side. If you go down, that's circular mode. And we're going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn feeder, just like so. Okay, take your waste yarn. We're going to do a long tail cast on with our waste yarn, going behind that first black needle, in front of the next, behind and in front, all the way around. Okay, just like so. Okay, till we get to that last white needle, and then your yarn should be behind that needle. Or in front, sorry. Depends how you're looking at it. I'm going to say in front of that last white needle because we went behind that first black one. We're going to end up in front of that last white one. And then we're going to close our latch. And we are going to crank out as many rows of waste yarn as what you are comfortable working with. I generally do 7 or 8. So I will go ahead and do that. That's 2. I'm going to do 7. I'll see you right back. All right, so I am on my last row of waste yarn, but before I get to the end, I'm going to set my counter to 0. And then I'm going to finish that row because it's ready now for me to start counting my working rows, okay? Because I set it to 0, and then I like to know what row I'm actually working on, not what row I'm finished. So when I add my working yarn, which I'm going to grab here, which is 100% cotton, I'm going to open the latch. I'm going to put that into the center between the last white, the first black. I'm going to add my working yarn. I'm going to hold both tails just so that there's some tension on it. Then once it gets 3 or 4 needles, I'm going to just pull that a little bit just so that that goes underneath that divider there, and I have my stitches a nice tension at the beginning, okay? Then you can take and just put one little knot in there to hold it, okay? And then you are going to knit. You don't want to have really tight tension when you're using cotton yarn because then your stitches will get too tight. I have a knot in my thing because I rolled up my ball, and let's just see if it's going to go through here. No. So I'm going to just go like this. So what I did, just in case you have that problem, I'm not going to continue knitting with it. So I'm going to pretend like I'm doing a yarn change. So I'm going to put that behind that needle. Then I'm going to grab the loop like that, put that back in, and then I'm going to continue knitting until I get past that, okay? And then all I'm going to do is cut this off, tie a knot, and I did it as though it was waste yarn. Now I have 2 little knots there, but that's okay, okay? I wish I would have caught it a little bit farther down because then my knot would have been lower and I would have cut it off. But this will work fine, okay? So I'm going to continue knitting around with loose to medium tension. You don't want a tight tension like I said before because cotton hasn't got any give in it, and your stitches won't drop down over those little red teeth. So you know what? You just go a little bit slower until you can see that it's working. Add your weights if you choose to do that. If I'm going to use my hand to push it down here, I should really have my tensioner in here. I'm going to finish a couple rows here, and if I feel like I need my tensioner, then I will put it in. Okay, so yes, it's a little bit slower than working with regular acrylic yarn that your machine loves. whatever yarn you use that your machine loves. This is a little bit different, although the machine does really like cotton. I will say Bernat Handicrafter cotton works great in the machine. You just have to go a little bit slower and just be more conscientious of the loop going down over those red teeth before the needle picks up the working yarn, okay? So you're going to keep going around and around and around and around. And keep knitting until you get 20 rows, okay? So keep going around until you get 20 rows with a little bit looser tension than what you're normally used to using with your acrylic yarn, okay? Okay, so once you have your 20 rows done, you're going to cut your working yarn. You're going to put it into the center of between the last white and the first black. You're going to take your waste yarn, you're going to insert it into your yarn feeder between that last white, the first black, and you're going to slowly go around on your first round to make sure that that yarn slips into the loops of the row below, okay? And the first row is a little tricky because right now I'm using acrylic yarn as my waste yarn, and I've got cotton yarn under it, and it's just the two of them together. And I'm having problems with one little section of my needles. I think I finally have come to the time where I've got to take my machine apart and give it a good clean. Never done that yet. I'm scared. I'm gonna need your moral support in my group. But I'm going to take it apart one of these days, maybe tomorrow. I'm gonna line it all up, the screws, in the order that I take them off, and I'm gonna just be so methodical about it that that there's gonna be no mistakes that are able to be made. I'll probably take pictures after I take every little piece off so I can look at the pictures in reverse and and put it back together correctly. But anyways, I think it's time to check it out. I'm getting a really loud noise. Well, now you would never know it with this yarn that's working. I'm just it's going pretty smoothly, but too often I'm getting a little bit of a noise on the white needles that are before my last black needles. And so I'm just wondering if there's a crack in one of the needles or if there's something that I need to pay attention to. So I think it's time to take it apart before I damage my machine. So this will be the last project I do on this machine until I'm sure that it's okay. And if I don't get it done right away, I'll just start using my Sentro 48 a little bit more, okay? So I have no idea how many rows I did, but I think that's enough. So I'm going to come around. I see that black divider coming around, which is marked between my last white and my first black with a permanent black marker is how I do that. So that I can always see it coming around. Then I'm going to cut off my waste yarn there, open the latch, put it between the last white, the first black. But I'm going to go down here and I'm going to give this this one a little tie. When I added the waste yarn, I forgot to do that, so we'll do that. Okay, and now now that we've got that done, you need to know which is the bottom of your bag and which is the top. Let me see, I'm going to grab just because we're going to, I mean, you could make either the top or the bottom, but I want to work with the row that is like this bottom row first, because this yarn falls off, the waste yarn falls off the end so easily. So I'm going to use, and also we drop our stitches from the other side, so that's more important, the reason why we need to mark this. But when you get it off your machine, I want you to know which is the end here. So take a stitch marker of any sort. I'm just going to get up and grab one. Maybe you know that I love bobby pins, but for this particular purpose, so it doesn't fall out, I'm going to just use one of these clips. Now I always know which is the end, and you probably do too, because when you see your waste yarn starting to unravel, you know that's the end. But just to be sure, go ahead and put a marker in there so you know. Okay, so now what we're going to do is remove our project. So all that takes is 2 rotations of your barrel, and it will come off beautifully. Okay, there it goes, slipped off beautifully. Okay, so now I'm going to take my project and I'm going to stretch it widthwise and lengthwise. I'm going to get my Addi out of the way and I'll see you right back. Okay, I'm going to insert this little clip into this video because this is my piece that I took off, and this is 20 rows. Now when I was first making this project, I decided that I was going to do 40 rows, and I started this video out making 40 rows and realized that was way too much for this small bag. So I finished the project off showing you on a piece that's double the length of this, but you're going to be making one that's this size. This is a 20 row bag, okay? So follow the rest of the instructions in the pattern or in the video exactly the way I do it. I'm just doing it with a longer piece, okay? But I have since redone it into a smaller piece, and I'm going to catch up with you on that too. But yeah, so anyways, your piece, when you see it on my machine, when I'm going to take it off, it's going to look really long. That's because I did too many rows. But rather than redo the whole video, I just thought I would pop in and edit here and show you that yours will be shorter like this. And you just finish it the exact same way I finish it in the rest of the video. Okay? All right. I hope that's okay with you. So take care, my friends, and let's continue on this project. All right, so we're ready to close up the end. Now the end is the one where you put the stitch marker on, but it's also the side where your yarn comes out, comes loose so easily, okay? So you'll probably already see it starting to unravel. But we have to have this as the bottom because we're going to drop our stitches starting on the other end, okay? From the beginning of our project. That's important. So get your 2 stitch markers. If you followed my videos before, you know I use bobby pins, but I always put them in this first stitch, which your waste yarn is coming through the loop of that stitch. You're going to put a stitch marker there. Sometimes when you're closing up these projects, at the end, these last 2 stitches are the hardest to find because it starts to get a little bit tighter. So I always put a stitch marker on them. Now this tail of the working yarn is leading up to this loop. So this loop is this tail. Okay, that's our last one. You also see it's to the left of this first one, and there's 2 loops, and you take the one that's on the top, okay? All right, so now we know that this is a panel of 46 needles, or stitches. So we are going to count around. Half of 46 is 23. So I want my 23rd and my 24th stitch so that I'm at the exact corner, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23. These are my these are my middle stitches, okay? 23 and 24. So I'm going to put my hook under 24, so to speak. Pick up 23, put it through the loop on my hook. I'm using a 4mm hook for this because this is cotton yarn and I could use a smaller hook, okay? Then I'm going to go down to the bottom, going to pick up that next stitch, put it through the loop on my hook. Then I'm going to go up to the top, pick up that next stitch, put it through the loop on my hook, and we're going to close it that way to the bottom, put it through the loop on my hook, the top, put it through the loop on my hook, the bottom, put it through the loop on the hook. And I will make mention, again, it doesn't matter if you go under your stitch like this to grab it or over your stitch like this to grab it. All it matters is that you're pulling it through the loop on your hook. So it will sit the same way no matter how you do it. So I just thought I would point that out because if you're a crocheter, this is your natural thing. Okay, so do it however you like, but for me, I like to pick it up from the top and just work it in through that loop, okay? You're going to go all the way down, and if you're not talking to anybody, you will count them as you go, counting that first one, that 24th one that you put on your hook. You're going to count that as number 1, and you're going to work across until you know you've worked all 46 stitches, okay? Because you don't want to miss any. So keep going until you get to the last one, and I'll see you back. Alrighty, so I'm at the end, and I'm going to pull up on that little stitch marker to get my hook underneath that if I need to, if it's tight, and then I'm going to pull up on that last one there, and that should, when you're counting, that should be 46. You're going to finish that off, then you're going to take your yarn tail that you had at the end, wrap your yarn around it, pull it through that loop, and pull tight, okay? Now we've just closed up our bottom, so we can go ahead and take off that waste yarn, and this one's easy. You just pull it off and let it unravel, making sure it doesn't get caught around your tail there, or you'll get a knot. Okay, and you pull that off. So you go ahead and pull that off, and then I'll see you back. I've got the waste yarn removed, and it's a beautiful finished bottom like that. I'm going to take that end that was left, and I'm going to just hide it underneath the stitches, okay? So just go one way, for a few stitches. Just like so. You don't want to pull away from the shape of it, so make sure that you pull on it to put it back into its original position, okay? And then we're going to go back the other way. Pull that through. And then I'm going to cut that off. Just like so. And I removed the stitch marker that we had in there too. Don't forget to remove that because it'll be on the inside of your bag. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to work on the other end. So we're going to have the right side facing. Then this was tied here. This was where our waste yarn and our working yarn where it started. I had already untied it. So you're going to just lightly pull on that waste yarn, and you'll see that that end is coming through this stitch right here. Okay, so you're going to put your stitch marker in there. Then you're going to look to the left of it, and you'll see that there are 2 stitches. One right above the other, just like that. And you're going to go ahead and put your stitch marker in that top one. Okay, so this loop is a little bit large, so that might be hard to look at. But when you find your first one, look to the left, and you'll see a row with 2 stitches. Choose the top one. Okay, so those are our first and our last stitches. And then we're going to begin our crochet work. But I'm going to turn it this way now so that my bobby pins are on this side. Because when I do my crochet, I want to crochet it. We're going to flip this down and we're going to crochet from the right to the left, but I want the right side of my crochet work to be on the right side of my work project. So I'm going to begin in this first stitch where my first bobby pin went. Okay, so you're going to get all your little yarn ends out of the way because they can be distracting and frustrating. And you're going to put your crochet loop, your starting loop on your crochet hook, okay? And you're going to go into that first stitch where that first stitch marker was that you had, okay? And you're going to go underneath it, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to take that second loop and put it through the first one. And all we did was slip stitch to join. That's all that was, okay? Now I'm going to chain 1 just to begin my work. Now I'm going to go back into that stitch, and I'm going to do a single crochet. I'm not counting that chain 1 as a single crochet. I'm going to do a single crochet. Then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to skip this next stitch, and I'm going to go into the next one. I'm going to do a single crochet and a chain 1. I'm going to skip this next one, which is the one that I had a knot on. It's too bad that that is the one that's going to drop, but that's okay. It'll still work. And I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go into the next one, and I'm going to do a single crochet and a chain 1. Okay, if you don't know how to single crochet and you can't figure it out by following what I'm doing here, go look on my channel and surf down to through the videos, and you'll find a lesson on how to do a single crochet. Okay, so single crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch that you see coming, showing in your waste yarn. Skip it, go to the next one, single crochet, chain 1. Okay, so you're going to do that all the way around. Single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, all the way around until you get to your last stitch, and then see me back. All right, so if you've made it around, you've got 2 more stitches left. Or maybe you finished your 2 stitches, but I have 2 stitches left. So I'm going to go into that last stitch marker. I'm going to remove it. I'm actually going to remove that other one. I didn't remove it yet, so I'm going to remove it. I'm going to do a single crochet and a chain 1. That takes me to the beginning, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our first single crochet. So that's my chain 1. So this behind it is my first single crochet. Now, I should have told you at the beginning, if you didn't, you know, if you're not sure of how to find your first single crochet, then to go ahead and put a stitch marker in there so you find it at the end. So that's an option for you. Too bad you're probably all the way around by now, but you'll see where your chain one is right there. So go right behind it. Actually, one stitch over. Where your chain one is there, and so this stitch right before it is your chain one. Or pardon me, your single crochet. So you're going to go into there and slip stitch, then you're going to chain one, and we're going to go ahead, yarn over, and go into that same stitch, draw up a loop, bring it through that stitch. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and bring it through all 3 loops. That is considered a half double crochet. Put your stitch marker in there, okay? Then you'll know your first stitch after, okay? So now that you finished your first half double crochet, there is that chain one space right there, okay? Right after. So you're going to half double crochet into there, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. That's a half double crochet. Then you're going to go into that first or that next single crochet, okay? And you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and do a half double crochet. And then into the space, then into the single crochet, then into the space, and you're going to do that all the way around, okay? So into the single crochet, you're going to do a half double crochet. Then into that space, you're going to do a half double crochet. If you have a hard time finding your single crochets, pull your work like this. I'm going to hold this up a little bit closer. And you see where that loop is right there? That is where your single crochet is. So there's 2 bars right here, and to the left of it, or to the right of it, there's a little loop. You go into there, okay? Do your half double crochet. Then you're going to go into the space. You see that little loop there? That's where you're going to do, that's your single crochet. You're going to go in there and do a half double crochet, and you're going to do this all the way around until you get to the beginning, okay? So go ahead, do that, and I'll see you when you get to the end of your row. Okay, I'm at the end, so I'm going to go into that last space there with a half double crochet. Then I'm going to join it to where my stitch marker is. So I'm going to go underneath those 2, or that 1 stitch, but it's 2 bars. And I'm going to yarn over, pull it through, and pull it through. That's a slip stitch to join. And then you can see my rows are already starting to come, like I have my waist yarn still, so it's not going to go down very far as far as dropping, but it's starting to get loose already. So, but I want to do another row, okay? So I'm going to, instead of doing, we did a row of single crochet, we did a row of half double crochet. Now I want to do a row, I'm going to chain 2. We're going to do a double crochet into that same space. So let me go back and do that. Yarn over, go into that stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop. You got 3 loops on your hook. Instead of going through all 3, I'm going to go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. That's a double crochet, okay? So from there, I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to miss this next one, and I'm going to go into there with a double crochet, okay? So double crochet into that next stitch. Oops. Chain 1. I'm going to miss this next stitch, and I'm going to double crochet into that next one. Chain 1. Miss this next one, double crochet into that next one. Chain 1. Miss 1, and double crochet all the way around. The reason why I'm doing that is because now I have a little space there that I can put a cord through, okay? And I love the different stitches. I love to work with different stitches, so that's why we started with a single crochet to start our base, then a half double crochet, and now a double crochet, and that gives us some texture. It gives this space a little bit more room, so we can put a cord through there, okay? So go ahead and finish that all the way around, doing a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and I'll see you at the end. All right, my friends, so we are at the end of the row, and I have 1 stitch left, and that's how it should be, but I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go into that first stitch of the double crochet. So this was my chain 2 to begin. If you pull on that, you'll see that there's that little stitch that looks like that, and then there's that space, okay? If you didn't put a stitch marker in there, that's how you find it. So I'm just going to slip stitch to join, put my hook in there. I'm going to yarn over, pull it through, and pull it through again, okay? Now what I'm going to do is yarn over and pull that through. I'm going to cut this off, pull it through and fasten off, and we're finished our work there, okay? Now the reason why these are like that is because every second stitch is in that waist yarn, okay? So it's not going to drop any farther than that. It just dropped that one row until we take off this waist yarn. And when that waist yarn comes off, then we can drop the whole thing, and we all know how fun that is. So, but before we get there, I want to mention to you a group. So I know that some of you are like, people watching are from all over the world. And I am so glad that you are part of my channel, and that you are, most of you, or a lot of you, are part of, not most of you, because it's a new group, my Facebook group, Koala Knits and Knacks. Most of you actually aren't on there yet because it is new, and I have many followers on my YouTube channel, and just about 2,000 on my Facebook group. So if you haven't joined that, please head over and join my Facebook group, Koala Knits and Knacks. But if you're Canadian, I'm all about supporting other people as well. And one person I want to support is Vanya Beck. She has a Canadian group. It's called Canadian Addi, Sentro, Knits and Knots. Not Knits and Knacks like mine, but, or Knits and Knacks like mine, but Canadian Addi, Sentro, Knits and Knots. I'm going to put that link down below. It is a Canadian group, so if you're not from Canada, this group is not for you, but I still wanted to do a shout out for her. She doesn't have a YouTube page, so she's not posting videos or anything that she does, but this is specifically for Canadians so that we can share ideas of where we can buy our yarn in Canada, or just things that are related to Canada. There's lots of groups out there that are country specific, and hers is a small group that's just starting, and I want to help her grow that. So if you are from Canada and you want to be in a group that is just for Canadian circular knitters, so we can share where we get our deals and whatever in this country, then go ahead and join that group. I would encourage you to do so. Okay, but stay in my group, Koala Knits and Knacks. I want you there as well. So I just wanted to support her and give a little shout out to that. Okay, so go ahead and check that out. I'll try to put a link in a little bit below. Okay, in underneath the video. So now that we've got that done, all we need to do is hide our ends. So we're going to before I pull out my waist yarn, I want to get the project done, except for the cord that we're going to put in there, of course. So you're going to thread your needle. If I can get it through this needle. Okay, and I'm just going to go down into my stitches and hide that yarn end. Take it down into my half double crochet row because they're closer together, and I can just go through the bottom of the stitch just like this. Cotton is hard to put through the stitches. I don't know if you realize, if you notice that too, but it gives me a little bit of pullback. Now this is where I had to attach that yarn because I had run out and never noticed that it was coming to an end until I got, you saw that at the beginning. So I'll be hiding that. It's going to be hard to do because it's so short, but I will hide that as well. And if you have any small ends like that too, you go ahead and hide them. Okay, and we're going to cut this off. Okay, so that's one end done. I'm going to go ahead and do that with all the loose ends that I have on my project. Okay, we did the bottom already. Once you get those loose ends done, come back and see me, and we're going to do the more satisfying work. Okay, all right, see you soon. All righty, now that we've got all that done, we are ready for the magic to happen. Okay, so this is our waist yarn that we put on at the beginning. So we're going to roll it up until you get that very top row, and you'll see that your stitch is going over it. Okay, that's the row that you want. You're going to pinch the stitch to the left, and you're going to pull that. You're going to move over to the right a little bit. You're going to find that top row, pinch the stitch, and pull it out. We have to pull that row out, the top row out all around. Okay, very easy to do. Okay, just like so. Roll it up until you get that very top layer, and you'll see that stitch that's going over top of it. Pinch the stitch, pull the yarn. Until you get to the very beginning and you have your first row off. Okay, then you can just unravel it just like so. I usually roll it into a ball as I unravel it, but I'm just letting it fall on the floor now. I'll roll it up later. Okay. So as that comes off, We've just taken the waste yarn out of those stitches that we're going to drop. Look at that. See? So now we've worked our top. And the reason why I did it this way, I mean, you can do how you want. You can sew handles if you want. But this is a produce bag, so it's for onions or apples or oranges or something that instead of grabbing those little white clear plastic bags at the grocery store, you just will take this. I don't need a long handle. I'm just going to fill it, tie it so they don't come out, just like we tie the top of those bags, and throw it in my shopping cart, and it's done. All right, so I have caught up to you, and this will look like the size of the one that you've got. This is such a cute little beauty. Okay, so now the magic happens. Oh, isn't that just awesome? You're just gonna pull, and you're going to loosen those stitches, those rows that you were dropping. Okay, so you just pull from both ends. Don't pull too hard because you don't want to get a knot in there, because that can happen actually. And you just want to lightly pull on that so that it loosens. And you are going to have the perfect size bag for produce. I don't know what I was thinking when I started out with a bigger bag. You can't make a bigger bag like this with the 46 needle unless you do it differently, because you have a smaller opening and it's just going to be a really long bag. So if you want a wider opening, there has to be another way to do it, which I might come up with. There's videos on that on YouTube, I'm sure. I haven't watched any, but I'm sure that you'll find them, and I might eventually come up with one. This one is snagging because my yarn split right there. See, that might happen to you. So I'm going to show you. Right there, that yarn split. So I have to cut it. There's no other way to do it. It's just one strand of that, how many, is this 4-ply yarn, and so it's not gonna break, but it's snagged over my needle, and so that's why I had to do that. Okay, so we're gonna take this all the way down, and you're gonna pull it all the way down. I'm gonna get my fingers in there in a different way until it gets right to your join. See, so you'll have just a really skinny join down there that we did together. Okay, so I got to continue doing this and getting all of my stitches unworked, and then we're going to make the cord for this cute little bag. I love it. I think it's beautiful. Sometimes when I think of projects to do, I write them out in my book and I try to figure it out, and that's why I figured out 40 rows based on the, I looked at my drop stitch scarf and figured, okay, like that would work, but I overguessed it. Some of these projects I do the first round I'm doing with you, and that's why you know, if there's a mistake or something, we can work it out together, because I think that's important. Not everything that I post as a video is my first round, but some things like this was my first round. And I like that. I like to be able to do it with you and to figure things out. So thanks for being in my community. I think of my koala knits and knacks community. It's so fun doing things, projects and stuff together with you. But okay, I'm going to work on that off camera. These are just ends I had to add yarn. So I'm going to tie that in as tight of a knot as I can so that I can cut it off, because there's nowhere to hide it. You can't like sew it in under any of the stitches, so you know, you just have to just tie it really, really tight and cut it off. But that is what our bag is going to look like, and of course I'm going to tidy it up. There's lots of room for produce in there, and it's just so cute. So you don't even have to put a drawstring in there, because you can just fill it up and throw it in your cart just like that. Okay, or you can put a drawstring in there. I'm going to hide this end yet here too, but I'm going to, if you have an Addi egg, make yourself a cord on your Addi egg. It doesn't use cotton very well, so you might have to do it in a different yarn, in acrylic, and that's okay. Maybe you can do 3 or 4 weight and make a cord on your egg to put through here, or you can join me and we're going to crochet one. I do have an Addi egg, but I'm telling you, the first day I got it and used it, one of the needles was cracked, so I had to like the top of one of the needles, it was duplicating. I had like, every time I went around, it would duplicate, like there'd be a loop that would go over and that would not take it down, and there was up to 5 loops on that one, and I realized there was a crack in the needle, so I had to send it back. And there's another one, actually, All I'm doing is getting new needles for it. So I'm still waiting to get that in the mail. Otherwise, I would do my Addi egg and make a cord with you. But I'm going to crochet with you for those of you who don't have the Addi egg. Just keep watching, and we're going to crochet this together. Crochet a cord together. Okay, so grab your hook. I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook, and I did 1/4 already because we're gonna make 2. But you're going to make it your chain until it's as long as it is across, and then you're gonna double that. So for me, it was 26 inches. Pardon me, 26 chains from one side here to the other. So I did 52 because I want it to wrap around one way. I don't want it to be much longer than that. I just want it to just go around, and you'll see why in a second, okay? Now I'm going to make another one. Now that I know I had 52 on there, so I'm going to just do a chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So for those of you who don't know how to make a chain, if you have a crochet hook, you probably know how to make a chain, okay? So, but if you don't, you're going to put the loop on your hook that you started out with. Then you're going to yarn over and pull it through the loop. Yarn over, pull it through the loop. After every couple of stitches, you move your thumb up just for tension's sake. And you're going to just keep going like that until you get one that is the length of half of your bag, the front. Okay, so that's not enough. I know it's 26, but I'll just do this to show you. Okay, so you're just going to make it, because your tension's different, you're going to make it so it's the same width. And count how many chains you did, and then do that same amount one more time, okay? So do that, and once you get your 2 chains finished, and in order to finish off your chain, say this was the last one, I'm going to pull that through again, and I'm going to cut it off and then just pull that out, and that tightens my end, okay? So I'll show you when I get there. So go ahead and make your chains, and I'll see you back in a second. All right, so I've done 51 chains. I'm going to do 52. And then I'm going to just cut this off and pull it through and pull on it, and that knots the end, okay? So now what we're going to do, you can we'll cut these ends off later, but get yourself a darning needle. Okay, so almost done here. You want to put your bag in half, okay? Making sure that it's not in half with these like that, but make sure it's smoothed out and in half, okay? Then you're going to take one of your straps that you made, or chains that you made. You're going to just thread that on your needle. From one side here, just from the side, you're going to go in one square and out. You're going to weave in and out of these double crochets that you made, okay? Pull that through. You're going to make sure that this end doesn't go all the way, that you're not pulling on it so hard that you're taking it out of the loops that you just did, okay? Okay, so that's my chain 2 and my double crochet. So I'm going to go around both of them, okay? And then I'm going to do this all the way. I just don't feel that you need a strap. If you want to put a strap on it, then you go ahead. All the power to you. Make sure you show me in the group, because I'd love to see. Koala Knits and Knacks. Okay, and now I'm going to pull that out. Okay. So I went this way, and I've got that like that. Now I'm going to take my other one. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go in from this side, okay? So I know where this chain 2 and double crochet is the center. So I'm going to go in, out, in, out. I'm going to go around the other way until I get all the way around. Hope I'm in the camera here. Okay. I'll work with my left hand here. I'm learning to become ambidextrous since I started using my knitting machine for the sake of the camera. But now I can't do it, so I'm going to just go like this. Okay, so in and out. And it doesn't matter. Like, mine are ending up opposite. So this one was over, this one's under. That doesn't matter. So if you're seeing that on my pattern here, don't worry about that. You don't have to be that specific. You just got to get it around. Where did I start? This little puppy right there. Okay. Coming out there. All right, so now that we've got that one through, you can take your needle off. I'm going to just let you see it this way. So I've got my 2 ends here. We went from one end, this end, all the way around. Then we took our other cord. We went from this end all the way around. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 ends and we're going to tie a knot so that the 2 come together just like that. Oops, just like that, okay? Tie a knot. Come on. And I'm going to do a 3rd one. I'm going to tie it really tight and cut it off. Just like so. Do that to the other side. Okay. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to bring those 2 ends together. Oops, falling off the table. I'm going to tie a triple knot. Okay, just like that, and one more. Pull it real tight, and then I'm going to cut that off. Okay, so now what you want to do, I don't want these ends showing because they don't look nice, do they? So you're going to go back in here, and you're going to find the loop that's joined to this, the other end. See, this end is joined to this end, and you're going to do the same with this side. This end is joined to that other one, and you're going to pull. Okay, and that's how you close your bag. Oops, except for it's coming through. There we go. You might have to, I tied a knot there, but you might have to just physically tie the 2 ends together in a knot like that. But I think this should hold. And then you actually do have little tiny handles, but they're nothing substantial, okay? And then that's why you didn't have to make them so wide. And if you want to, but you do need to make them as long as what I showed you, because then when you open this, you'll get the widest opening that you can. So there you go. There you open it. Then there you close it. You just don't have to pull it quite so tight as what I did the first time. Isn't that just so cool? That's so cute. So this is a perfect produce bag. I love it. It's so cute. So anyways, there you have it, my friends. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. Thanks for learning with me and having patience with me as I learn too. I sure appreciate you. And I thank you so much for being in this community. Please make sure you hit that like button because as I say in every video, when you hit that like button, it really helps out my channel in getting promoted in a wider span across YouTube. And subscribe. I'd love it if you would subscribe. And if you haven't already joined my Facebook group, Koala Knits and Knacks, please do so. I'd love to have you as a part of that. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. I sure appreciate you, and I thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And I hope you make yourself a bunch of these to throw in your shopping cart when you go for groceries. And please make sure you show us what you've done in our Koala Knits and Knacks group. Put them in other groups too, and promote the video. That would be awesome as well. All right, my friends, take care. Have a great day.